Again,
We are going to give you a taste of our spiced lentils, miso, and they come with a injera that is a fermented flatbread. And have you had Ethiopian before?
never.
Oh, yay! Okay.
Normally, I don't study Ethiopian cuisine. I study Ethiopian swords.
Oh, interesting! Wow. Would you want me to hold that and
Yes.
just point it at you?
Initially, a mild flavor.
Yeah.
The spoon is too big for the paper cup, so
Yes, we made a mistake
it's a
this
little-
time. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So it's a little tricky to.
To spoon it, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's onions I see in there. Not quite beans.
Yeah, and there's a spice
Red
called
lentil.
berbere in there. Yeah,
The spice is called what?
berbere. It's a
Berbere.
traditional Ethiopian spice. It's got a very unique flavor.
You're not kidding.
Do you
I'm
like
not
it?
sure how unique it is or just how exotic to my local palate it is, but it is unmistakable.
Yeah.
So, one Ethiopian sample for one tidbit on the Ethiopian swords that so clearly fascinated you when I brought them up. The shotel is my favorite blade of all time because it has the curve near the hilt that is designed to help it move around the shields. It is the problem solver's stabbing implement.
Hi,
Thank
can
you.
I get something
Uh-huh.
started for you?
All right, so we're here with Sugar and Spice, if you didn't hear that. And they've got samplers so I can expand my coverage while staying within budget. This is
Matcha marshmallow.
matcha marshmallow. Okay, the cookie itself is good, but it's so hard to taste the matcha or the marshmallow. I should have put it in my mouth upside down. May I try another?
Around 50% of UK beef comes from dairy cows, whilst the remainder comes from poultry.
That's the protesters again. I've checked, they're not peed up. So it is safe to talk about them. Alright. Cookie is soft, like it's almost just barely done, and that's how I like it, especially when they're thin.
Hi, just trying to read your sign. Oh yeah, go ahead.
It moves around really well in the mouth, and when you put it in upside down, you do get the feeling of marshmallow, but it still tastes like a cinnamon snickerdoodle. And I realize when you put cinnamon and snickerdoodle, it's kind of redundant. What are the other flavors again?
Hong Kong milk tea and Szechuan hot chocolate.
Let's try the Hong Kong milk tea. Okay, this is going to be a lot firmer. You can tell by the feel. But I can put it in either way up. Okay, this tastes like milk tea. Although, points off for the consistency around the edge. Perfectly understandable, but and Szechuan milk chocolate, you say?
Szechuan hot chocolate.
Oh, Szechuan hot chocolate. I wonder if that means it's spicy. No, I just see chocolate chips in here. Surprising you can get bits of chocolate in there and something this thin. Shaves off carbs and beefs up goodies. Okay, it tastes like cinnamon and chocolate. Why is it called Szechuan?
Szechuan peppercorn in it, so if you give it a minute, your tongue is going to get a
And we'll
little
have
bit
to enjoy
numb.
the experience of being shot repeatedly in the head and having a full plate.
All right. I didn't think I put it on the right parts of my tongue, but I do lose feeling along this side on the back. So that part is advertised. So while I'm drawn to things like marshmallow and matcha, I'm gonna have to skip my recommendation on that and go for the what is it? Hong Kong milk tea? Hong Kong milk tea and Szechuan hot chocolate. And don't forget, right now they're in a partnership thing with Sweet Alchemy.
Our cookies are over there.
But their cookies are over here.
And they wholesale them to Wajamaya's down in the I district.
So look for these at Wajamaya in the International District. And what event held at the intersection of Denny and Dexter would be complete without exploring Denny Park and its surroundings. I attended a Gossicon here back when that was still alive. Lungforce Walk happened across the way for so many years. The last one I went to in support of my mother when she was still taking part was at I think Woodland Park Zoo. This is the first park in the town of Seattle. And I'll have to ask the inevitable animal rights protesters what they think about the quality of this off-leash area. Oh, animals and manhole covers and off-leash parks. Naturally, I'm thinking of TMNT in the early 90s and how they made their great escapes. Can't believe a manhole cover was a stage hazard in the classic side-scroller. We're here with the leader of the...
one of the organizers for Seattle Active Vegans.
And their tasteful and non-obstructive civil protests of dairy practices at the Ice Cream Social. And my first question for you is, what vegan options have you found at this little social, whether you would recommend them or not?
So I haven't spent a ton of time looking at the vendors. Specifically, I did go through briefly and check out what options they had. I didn't catch specific names, but I do know for a fact that Full Tilt has at least Full Tilt ice cream has a green. I believe it's a green truck over there. Has a few vegan ice creams. I've had them myself. I recommend them. Check them out. They taste just as good as the cow's milk ice cream.
All right. Two, what are your thoughts on genetically modifying cows so that once they start lactating, they don't stop until they die? And a lot of this mass manufacturing new cows and the more gruesome breeding machinery your organizers have described would ultimately become superfluous and unnecessary.
Yeah. So our thoughts, and I can speak for all of us here because I know them very well. We're a very strictly vegan group, which means that we try to we think of animals as any other creature, like a cat or a dog or like another human. So we don't want to discriminate according to species. So if I wouldn't genetically modify my cat or my dog or myself or my children to continue producing milk, or if I wouldn't do that to a woman to continue producing milk even after they've given birth and the child is gone, then we wouldn't do it to cows either. So none of us would agree with that practice of genetically modifying cows to continue producing milk. We would rather just let cows have their own lives. We don't interfere with them. We don't enslave them. We don't slaughter them. Just let them have their own lives.
And question number 3. Given the sheer number of antibiotics used in dairy farming and the fact that antibiotics always have a shelf life until they're overused and bacteria are immune to them, what are your thoughts on addressing a shift to a vegan menu in all publicly funded dining venues as a national security measure?
So I unfortunately don't have as much knowledge about superbugs as I do just the treatment of animals in these industries, but I do know that a ton, like roughly 80% of the antibiotics that we create are used for these animals to survive the conditions they live in these industries. So yes, we are getting a ton of antibiotics in our bodies by consuming these products, which does give rise to superbugs having the effect they do. So I definitely agree that going to a vegan diet in publicly funded events or just in anyone's lifestyle definitely reduce superbugs and everything that they're causing. Sorry, I'm not so great with words on this topic, but I would definitely endorse it. Anytime you're going for a vegan diet, you're reducing your risk of a lot of things besides just superbugs, heart disease, diabetes. It's great all around. I would recommend it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, bye.
Bye.
I hope that this is enough for my entree. I was hoping to get something vegetarian so I could meet the protesters on middle ground because I haven't gotten to interview with them yet, and, you know, I didn't want it to be extra awkward.
Nothing I was interested in.
You may have heard on some of the footage now, they're quite explicit about what happens to cows. In the process, so it's gonna be awkward anyway. Okay. Never mind. No, it's definitely not vegetarian. I didn't see any meat on the descriptor, but this is actually this is worth more than $4 of value to me, so it's a very good buy. So, $5 big cup. Raspberry sorbet. I couldn't taste anything but chilled raspberries in it, and that's a very good sign. It seems to be just a puree of raspberries frozen and then left to thaw a little bit. It's a very good size for just $5, or at least for what $5 are worth today. I've had to do a lot of looking around, but I have found some good buys here. As it is, my modest entree and my dessert alone cost what one of those Hello Kitty fish fish cones.
That's so much fun. When you're my age,
It's more appetizing. It sounds more appetizing than the name suggests. At Beanfish was, because that's a solid $9 on its own. I have got to get that, I've got to get that Patreon running, and I've got to get a lot more content output. So people might actually want to spend at my Patreon, and then I can actually afford to buy a Hello Kitty beanfish dessert. They say it's just starting it. It's Pocky, it's a white chocolate Hello Kitty face, strawberry syrup on top of soft serve inside of a waffle cone shaped like a fish. I'm going to lose such a rating. I'm going to lose so many ratings because I didn't try that. Oh well. Running against the crowd. It's like it doesn't want me to leave. Well, I have one last hurrah for you all before I'm gone. The Blueberries and Cream bar from the... Already blanking. But what I do remember is that this is a seasonal option. They were each $4. And apparently Washington State, Western Washington, has something called a Hamptons. It's either the name of the farm or the area. I had to repeatedly see confirmation on that because that just sounds odd. It's seasonal, fresh, real blueberries. Unfortunately, it's a dairy option. One, it's not vegan, so I'm playing games with those superbugs we discussed earlier. Yes, I live dangerously. I eat milk products. And sorry, I'm blanking. Anyway, the other two options I was looking at, but they were each $4, so I'm only getting one, was the watermelon, because of the four all fruit options, they were by far the most fruit and veggie. That was water, after watermelon, a touch of sugar, and some lime. It's basically a bar of watermelon juice with some citrus. The other thing was the matcha for green tea fans. I remember at SoccerCon, I would keep trying for years to get into the line to check out the tea ceremony. And I got to try sample matcha. Matcha really is different than regular green tea. But since this is seasonal, I had to try it because if you can find these guys again, you're not finding this. I'm seeing seeds and skin and pulp. Yeah, that's much better for your digestion. And I'm going to be looking forward to it coming back. And that was it. That was my day at the Hullabamoo Ice Cream Social 2018.